I'm Dr. Sean Pesh from Pesh Orthodontics. Great to have you back, Smile Share Nation. We had a couple questions come in since we last visited with you. But before we get into the content, thank you again for joining us. And we want to give a shout out to our dear Jennifer and her new husband, Andrew. Congratulations to them both for celebrating their nuptials earlier this week. Woo woo! So we're so happy that you guys have found each other, and we wish you all the success and health and happiness for years to come. Also, almost as great, but the Rams are going to the Super Bowl. You knew I was going to get that in there, right? So there aren't as many people that may be rooting for my beloved Rams as they are the underdog Cincinnati Bengals this next coming Sunday. And we understand there's a lot of great people on both sides of the ball, but we're at the Pesh household, we're rooting for the blue and gold. And so hopefully you guys can join us, and hopefully you guys will enjoy a great long weekend and the Super Bowl weekend. Okay, so let's dive in. Oh, here we go. So today, our topic is, Crystal?
Retainers.
That's right, retainers. So we've got a couple of questions. Why are retainers needed? So we're in the business of straightening teeth and creating beautiful smiles that last a lifetime, but they need a little help sometimes. Retainers help retain or hold teeth in the corrected positions. And so often, my dentist friends can attest to this. You know, doc, which teeth do we need to floss? Well, only the ones you want to keep, right? That's the joke. And same goes for retainers. Hey, Dr. Pesh, how long do I really need to wear these retainers for? And the reality is that you need to wear them for as long as you want to keep your teeth straight. It's that simple. So yes, there is a percentage of the population that can get away without wearing their retainers and have fantastic functional occlusion. But the teeth have these little things wrapped around them that are called periodontal fibers, okay? And they're like elastic rubber bands. They're ligaments, periodontal ligaments. And these ligaments are like rubber bands. And even though the teeth don't have a brain, and even though the ligaments don't have brains, they have this directional memory, okay? And sometimes we'll even do procedures after where we'll sever that ligament. It's called a fibrotomy. And the idea is to help the fibers reattach in a different direction, okay? But it's not as common, and a lot of people don't want to do that after they've gotten the braces off. But that's something that can be done, and our periodontist or the gum specialist friends can attest to this procedure as well. Looks like I went over on that one. But so why are retainers needed? Again, they're to hold the teeth in the position that we've corrected them in, okay? So, and maybe I jumped ahead. How long will I need to wear the retainer? And that's where, for as long as you want to keep your teeth straight, you got to wear the retainer. Now, when we take braces off, or when we finish Invisalign, usually we'll have you wear something full time, okay? So braces patients aren't in the habit of wearing a removable appliance to keep their teeth straight, so it's a little bit more challenging. They gotta want it a little bit more than the Invisalign patients, and I'll tell you why. But friends at home, how many days does it take to make a habit? We kind of talked about this a time or two before at the beginning of the year, and we're getting to the gym and we're changing our diets and we're doing all these things, new year, new smile. But how many days do you think that it takes to make a habit? I'll give you a second to think about it, and then I'll come back to it. So what happens with Invisalign patients is we're already wearing a removable appliance 22 hours a day, taking them out to eat and brush our teeth. And so when we get the final alignment, we'll transition into nighttime wear for those patients. And we just wear the retainers for our aligner patients at nighttime. okay? Because they're already in the habit of taking something in and off and in bedtime, and it's great. So actually our Invisalign patients, believe it or not, are better retainer wearers because they have baked the habit in over a year or more of being in active orthodontic treatment. Okay, did we have anybody guess?
We did.
We did.
We have somebody, a beautiful disaster, guessed a week.
A week, and that wouldn't be long enough. Thank you for tuning in. Great guess. So it's actually 3 weeks, 21 days. It takes 21 days to bake in a habit. So when we take our braces off our braces patients, we have our patients wear their retainers full time for a couple of months before we titrate down to nighttime wear. And some people can get away with wearing their retainers less often. You know, when you go to bed and you brush your teeth, you can put the retainers in, and if they feel tight, this is after years of wear, if they feel tight, you wear them. If they don't, it's okay. But we don't have a good way to predict who are the lucky ones that can get away without wearing the retainer and who aren't. So that's why we preach at Pesh Orthodontics, retainers for life. Just like flossing, flossing's for life, and so are retainers. So here's a fact. Nearly 25% of orthodontic patients have had to return to the orthodontist after completing treatment. This is because they didn't wear their retainers and their teeth started to move back to the original position. So that's quite a chunk of people. 1 out of 4, 25%. And we would rather you forego a second round of braces or orthodontic treatment just by wearing your retainers, okay? So it's always cheaper to do things right the first time, right? And so we get it, life happens. You know, there's a lot of things with the human body that you would never think you get the procedure done one time and you never have to do it again. You know, other elective procedures like a facelift, you know, I mean, is it permanent? No, not from what I know. Same with braces and some other things we do in dentistry. Even fillings or crowns, you'd like to think that it's one and done and you never have to do it again. With orthodontics and getting straight teeth and clearing up malocclusion, we do have a simple solution, and it's a retainer, and you wear it at nighttime, and your teeth shouldn't shift. Okay. Okay. So next question: can retainers move teeth? Okay. Now that's a very common question that we get, and the simple answer is no. Okay. Now there are different types of retainers, and we're going to talk about some of those here in a second. Why don't we do it now? So here is a clear retainer. It can be called Essex, it can be called a clear overlay retainer, a lot of different things. And this is made from one of our local labs, and the plastic is sucked down over a model, okay? And the teeth there's nothing that is programmed into that model for the teeth to move. Therefore, it is a retainer, okay? Meant to hold the teeth in that position, okay? Now, you can have, that's, again, a clear retainer or an Essex, okay? It used to be called Essex, or referred to Essex. It's kind of like Kleenex. It was the first company that came out with the plastic. And so, just like escalator, elevator, but I digress. Okay, then we have, in this box, we have your more traditional poly or wire style retainers. This is a beautiful design, by the way. Now, you can move some teeth in a limited fashion forward and back by adjusting the wire, okay? But it's really hard to move teeth up and down and have three-dimensional control of the teeth, moving them with a retainer like this, okay? You can add springs on them, you can get all fancy, and you can do some limited movement with retainers. You can also do some limited movement with clear plastic trays like this Essex one, or in-house aligners, or Invisalign now has express options and limited options where we can do limited treatment with clear plastic, okay? But the difference is there's a series of models that are made with incremental movement, just like we do for the big Invisalign cases, okay? And so one retainer isn't gonna necessarily move the teeth more than, tenths of millimeters, okay, at a time, all right? Typically, it's about 0.2 of a millimeter at a time. Okay, so I think that did I answer our question about do retainers move teeth? Retainers retain teeth. They don't typically move teeth, okay? Let's see, what are the types of retainers? Great, we already kind of touched on that a little bit. So again, to recap, we have our Essex one, right? We have the Hollies, okay, which have the acrylic and a wire that's embedded with each other. And then also we have Vivera. Okay, so Invisalign makes a product that is, and it's hard for you guys to see on the camera, but the Essex material, it can come in different thicknesses, but it's a little bit more flexible, okay? It's a little thinner. Vivera is a little thicker, and I wish we could buy this plastic, but we can't. The only way we can buy it is through Invisalign, okay? But it is superior to a lot of the local labs and in-house plastic that we can provide, especially with patients that are heavy bruxers or clenchers or grinders. This is a great solution for them. Okay, and then you guys are, I know, dying to ask me, but you haven't mentioned anything about fixed retainers, okay? And we don't call them permanent retainers, we call them fixed retainers, and that's a reason. Kind of going back to things that we do in dentistry aren't necessarily permanent, right? A crown may last you for 10, 20 years, but it may not last you forever. So we don't like to call it permanent. Just like a fixed retainer, it can be fixed in place, but it's not a permanent retainer because it can break, it can come loose, right? Little small distinction, but you get it, right? So there's different ways to do the bonded or fixed retainers. They can be attached to the canines, or when we do them, we bond them to the front 6 teeth. Some doctors like to put they don't do anything over the top of the fixed retainer after it's bonded in place. We like to make a clear retainer or an Essex to go over the top of it, so if something does break or gets loose, that the teeth don't shift, because it's much easier to do that than it is to put braces on or go back into Invisalign that way. Okay? Just a sec. We're gonna pause for a commercial break. I don't know who the sponsor is right now. But
You missed a fact, I think.
did I miss a fact?
On the Vivera retainers.
Yes, Vivera retainers, what I believe you were getting at as far as the specifics on how much more durable they are, and they are at least 30% stronger than the in-house Essex retainers or any other leading clear retainer material. And there's more and more competition that's coming into the space. I've tried some of them. I haven't tried all of them, but I always come back to Invisalign being the #1. And that's why we use it here at Pesh Orthodontics.
We're also getting a couple of questions that
Great.
are perfect for you.
Yes, Crystal.
One of our lovely patients asked, how often should I get a new retainer?
That's a great question. We get that a lot. Everybody's different on how long the retainers are going to last. It doesn't matter if we're talking a fixed retainer, we're talking a Vivera retainer, we're talking an Essex, or we're talking a Holly or wraparound type of wire retainer. Some people will go through their retainers in a week or less. Stepping on them, Holly retainers with the wire, they don't do as well when you step on them. Dogs love either kind of retainer. So if you're leaving your retainer out and it's not in its case, they love the way you smell. They'll chew up a clear retainer or a wire retainer and nothing flat, okay? Except for Brittany's dog. That was funny. Some of you may have seen that post where Brittany had brought a retainer that had actually never been worn and didn't have her smell on it, and the dog wouldn't touch it. It was funny. So, but most of the time when you have got a retainer at your house, it smells like you, and your little fur balls just want to eat them up. So the point is, there's things that can happen inadvertently if you're not putting the retainer in your case where they can be damaged. Some people will try to clean them in the microwave or in the dishwasher or boiling them. That never works, right? So one rule of thumb, it wasn't on this question, but don't ever heat your retainers up, okay? So under normal wear conditions, if you're not a heavy clencher or a grinder, they can last for decades, both kinds. The Essex, the Clear, the Vivera, the Holly, the fixed retainer, they can last for a long time. A lot of our patients elect or opt for a second set just for peace of mind, so that if they can't get in right away, that they've got another set that fits. And I think that works out great. You really don't want to go without your retainer for more than a week or two. Anything during that time, you get a retainer back that was fitted at the time that your braces came off or you finished your Invisalign, should be able to put any kind of micro movements back into alignment. So that's not anything to worry about if you're without your retainer for a week or two. If it's been, a few months or years after your braces have been out, obviously the closer to when you finished your treatment to when you lost, the teeth are going to shift a little quicker, right? Did that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay.
I think so.
So it can last a long time. I can't say that the Hollies last longer than the Essex or vice versa. It really is patient dependent, and people will often ask me, I don't know if this is on any of the questions that you've got, but what's the best type of retainer? And we always tell patients the best type of retainer is the one that you want to wear. So parents can want a specific type of retainer for their kiddos, but if they don't want to wear it, you're fighting a losing battle in my experience. So there's research out there that shows that the plastic retainers, the Vivera style, the Essex, that patients tend to wear them a couple years longer than the traditional Hollies. That said, we're all going to do what we feel is best for our kids or ourselves, and so that's why we give our patients options at the time that you're finishing treatment, because we want you to have something that you want, and or that your child's going to want to wear, because it just doesn't work the other way, right?
Another great question is,
yes.
Is the cost of a retainer included with braces, or is it separate?
That's another fantastic question. For all of our patients here at Pesh Orthodontics, there is a set of retainers that's included in the treatment. We've got options to add a second set or more. But yes, it's included. We're an all-inclusive, comprehensive orthodontic solution here at Pesh Orthodontics for our practice, and I think our Smile Share Nation appreciates that.
And one of them you've already answered. Can I or should I get a retainer if I've never had treatment before, and is it worth it?
Great. If you didn't hear Crystal there, she had asked, if you've never had treatment before, is there any value in getting a retainer, or should you get a retainer? Did I get that right?
Wait, say that. Sorry, I was reading all the comments coming through.
Okay, so if you never had orthodontic treatment, is there value in getting a retainer?
Correct, that is the question.
Great. So yes, there can be value. We don't necessarily solicit to make retainers for people that haven't had orthodontic treatment. However, it does happen from time to time that we get a request in, because what people notice is that whether they had wisdom teeth or didn't have wisdom teeth or had them out or had braces before, we're not talking about those people, but let's just talk about wisdom teeth. Some people strongly believe that wisdom teeth cause crowding, and they're true. I think there's truth behind that, but it's not 100%. There are people that don't have wisdom teeth that still get crowding, and usually starts on the lower teeth. Even when they had their teeth, they never needed braces and their teeth were, quote unquote straight. Our teeth are always moving, believe it or not. Just like gravity has a force that's always bringing things to the ground, okay? So as we get older, there's this thing called mesial migration, where the teeth tend to move toward the middle of our face, okay? It's another law of nature. So to answer your question, yes, making a retainer to hold the teeth in the position that they're at today could be beneficial to prevent from further crowding, or it wouldn't be relapse in that case because there wasn't any treatment before. But yes, there can be value. There can also be value, depending on if a patient's a clencher or a grinder or a bruxer. Depending on the type of retainer you get, you can also help protect the biting surface or occlusal surfaces of the teeth by doing that, right? And so I would say there's 2 points: preventing movement and protecting the enamel.
And then one more question that we get asked in the
Yes.
practice a lot is, can I use my clear retainer for at-home whitening?
Definitely. So again, the question was, can you use your clear retainer as a whitening tray? Yes, it can double as that. The one thing that I would caution you about, if you decide to do that, and a lot of our patients here at Pesh Orthodontics do make that decision, is you don't have to use as much bleach, right? So that's a win-win, because you don't have to buy another set of bleaching trays, and you don't have to use as much bleach, because usually on the bleaching trays, they'll make a reservoir to hold the bleach. Turns out you don't need a lot. A little goes a long way. So if you just do a thin line on the inside surface, I've got a pin right here, I can kind of show you. But you go on the inside of the aligner with the tip of the gel, and you just go to the base of the aligner and then squeeze a little bit of gel and just pull it vertically on the teeth that you want to bleach. So if you don't want to bleach the teeth in the back, or you just want to bleach a couple of teeth, one's getting darker than the other, you can selectively do that with the bleach. So, and the bleach, whether or not you're using an in-office solution or an at-home solution, you want to get the trays to do touch-up. Both work great. It's just a matter of concentration and time. So that's my favorite way to deliver the bleach, is through in-home trays, and so it's great. It's fantastic. Yes, you can.
Those are all of the questions that we've had.
Thank you, Crystal.
You're more than welcome. So our next one is February 22nd.
February 22nd, we'll be back again doing another live. I want to give a shout out to Miss Brittany and a shout out to Miss Crystal. Thank you for being the secret sauce behind the scenes. We appreciate you. And we appreciate all of you, Smile Share Nation. So I hope that you have a fantastic Tuesday afternoon. Make it a great day, and we'll see you next time.